what makes you the most mad as a Bills fan as we enter this season? Welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. It's your friend Randy here, and Dan is with me breaking down all of the draft analysis. And what a draft weekend it was. Thursday night had us on the edge of our seats to the very end of the evening, and we all waited up so late to find out your feelings, Dan.
Obviously it's disappointing because I don't know if I've ever actually watched the entire draft. Until last Thursday, and then I did it without really wanting to, but it's okay. What are you going to do?
I just don't understand, if you keep on losing to a team over and over in the playoffs, why, like, by definition of them making a trade with us, it is their, and they believe, their best interest to make this trade. Why do we keep making trades with the Kansas City Chiefs and then they keep beating us? Like, shouldn't we, the moment Kansas City says yes, be like, hell no! If you think it's good, it must be bad for us.
Right, I would agree, yeah.
So all of their success is probably our success, so I think they owe us at least a Super Bowl trophy, is what I'm trying to get at. So staying up late, you felt especially betrayed by the team?
Yeah, I mean, they traded once, and it was, all right, whatever, I'll stay up for another half an hour, and then trade again, one pick back. I'm guessing they thought Keon Coleman would be that Carolina wasn't going to draft him, so they figured why not.
Was it any consolation knowing that we were the first pick in the morning?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I went to the Bisons game on Friday, so I wasn't watching it there either.
Oh, man. They didn't have it on the big board of the Bisons?
They won. During the inning, they actually did show it, and people were cheering. So.
Well, good. What I'm most happy about is that there were people at the Bisons game, because I've been to plenty where there's might not be enough to justify a full crowd cheer. All right, well, we have all of our analysis in front of us. We've got 10 picks to go through. Let's cover at least half of them. What do you say? So we waited until the second day to pick up out of the Florida State University, Keon Coleman, wide receiver of the power forward variety. Any thoughts on our first overall pick here in the draft this year?
I mean, I think it was obvious that they definitely needed to draft a receiver in that position. I mean, we all thought that they were going to draft Xavier. Well, we thought at that point that who the Chiefs picked, Xavier Worthy, I think his name is, that the Bills should have gotten him, because if the Chiefs feel like they need him, that they can become better. I feel like you said, I feel like the Bills should not make that trade if the Chiefs, are going to draft him. But anyway, that's okay. They drafted a receiver and they needed to, so I'm glad that they finally did that. We'll see, if he's wide receiver 1 or if it's, him or Curtis Samuel. But
well, getting rid of Diggs, we have to hope for a wide receiver with hands. So perhaps they were looking for the surest hands to make up for that lack, perhaps. The team loves a football player named Cole, and we move on to Cole Bishop out of Utah, a safety, a raw talent type of prospect, often put much lower in anticipated draft round than the second round. Do you think Brandon Beane reached to get Cole Bishop in the second?
I think they definitely needed to address the safety position, especially with Poyer and Hyde gone. So, maybe it's not a terrible thing that he's developmental. Hopefully if he can turn it, obviously the Bills love developing, their raw talents. So I think that if they can do that and they can get a guy who's going to be here for a long time, that would be great. But, they also do need someone this year for it. So we're hoping that he, a second-round pick, hopefully maybe he can make a difference this year as well.
Yeah, what goes for me is strong position in the team for the past several years is a huge unknown. So in the 60th pick overall, perhaps that's a position that can contribute right away, or at least, we can hope. Next pick drops down to the third round. We've got a defensive tackle. We like to rotate our defensive linemen especially, so for sure probably seeing some time this year. DeWayne Carter comes in. Any thoughts on DeWayne Carter?
I would say I think they definitely needed to address the defensive line position, and they did as well, later in the draft as well with defensive end. It sounds like he's definitely someone who can be a run stopper, and I think for where they got him, I think it's a good value pick.
In their fourth round, we got Ray Davis out of Kentucky. Kentucky's the third school that he went to. He gained over 1,000 yards for each of the other two schools, including Kentucky, that he went to. So as far as college players go, he's a bit more experienced than most. Has even started over with new teams. Do you see Ray Davis contributing a running back right away?
Well, I think James Cook is definitely the obvious, running back number one in Buffalo. But after that, it'll be interesting to see if, Ray Davis, if he can compete with Ty Johnson as well. I mean, Ty Johnson contributed late last year. So, we'll see who gets in there. I know they also did sign Frank Gore Jr.
A little bit of nepotism. I wasn't sure if we get him now or afterwards, but yes, got to crowbar the name in.
So yeah, we'll see what they do with the running back position.
In the fifth round now, Sedrick Van Pran-Granger, center out of Georgia, comes in. Perhaps it comes in to replace Morse or another backup position. Any thoughts on the Bills' fifth round pick?
Well, he sounds like coming from Georgia, he obviously is a winner, and I think they really produced their offensive lineman well down there. And as our producer mentioned, that he's the top 3-4 center coming off the draft boards, so you definitely are going to need to replace Morse. So you want to, for at least add depth to that position.
The fifth round pick feels about a good place to pick a center too, especially if he doesn't start right away. Maybe give it a year or so, come in. We got 5 more picks halfway through. Rather than go through each individual, we'll address these more as a gloss over. And this is not just so I can avoid stating the name Edefuan Ulofoshio, because I came ready for that. But out of the 5 remaining picks that we got, Edefuan Ulofoshio, Javon Solomon, Tylen Grable, Daequan Hardy, Travis Clayton. Let's start off with the negative. If one is most likely to be a bust, like an overreach, who do you think was most likely the one that we might have left on the table?
I'm going to go with Javon Solomon, just because, not that I necessarily think that he will be a bust. It's obviously hard to be a bust when you're drafted in the 5th or 6th round. But I just think that they do have a crowded defensive line room in Buffalo, so I think he has the hardest battle for this training camp.
And on the other end of the spectrum, who do you think out of the last 5 picks are most likely to stand out, perhaps?
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Well, you got so much analysis. It's only fair to look it over. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Daequan Hardy, just because I feel like the Bills in the last few years have really developed their late round picks, and the cornerback room is definitely going to be a question this year. So I think he has the best shot for success.
I just got to say, I'm a little disappointed we didn't draft Kool-Aid, just because all the oh yes I could be making all year long. But it is nice to have a number 0. I think Keon Coleman being number 0, coming out right away with that. I think that'll be a good look I think you'll see a lot of those around town. You did mention Frank Gore Jr. Do you like the idea, other than the fact that his name, is there any reason that we signed him?
I think the Bills are light at running back. So, like we mentioned earlier, James Cook, but then after that, there's a lot of question marks. So, between him, Ray Davis, and Ty Johnson, they're all talented running backs. So, I'm guessing maybe Frank Gore Jr. possibly on the practice squad, but we'll see.
And if there's one episode every year that does not age well, it's the draft preview. And if there's a second episode that doesn't age really well, it's the draft analysis. So much of what we're going to learn about these players is coming down the road. So it's fun to look at, not necessarily in a couple months, but in a couple years, to see what we said about these guys. And oh my gosh, turns out that Travis Clayton was the hero of this draft. So there it is. It turns out what the algorithm most likes, though, is what we're mad about. So before we go, what makes you the most mad as a Bills fan as we enter this season?
Currently, I would say they're. I'm going to go with their lack of getting in 2 receivers. They got 2 receivers.
A lot of frustration about receivers left on the table this year. I think that is probably a chorus heard loud through Bills land, for sure. And I won't leave you alone. What makes me most mad about being a Bills fan is just that it seems like the Pegulas care the least about this franchise. It seems that the Bandits are doing great. The Sabres are always at least trying to right the ship. But what are we really doing here? We've been trying to circle the wagons without changing anything at the top for a really long time. So maybe this is the year, if nothing changes, that we'll just maybe finally get rid of the leadership of the Buffalo Bills. But all that being said, we look forward to breaking down all this and much, much more. What is sure to be another Super Bowl season for the Bills. And if I keep saying it, eventually becomes true, right? I'm not here for your back talk, YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back as the season comes back. Woo! Go Bills! Oh yeah, we owe you some draft grades. I give the Bills a C for average.
I give the Bills a B- for a little better than average.
The minus feels so personal, though. So that's like a B- minus average between the two of us.
I agree.
They earned it.